Okay, so what I want to do, because a lot of these heavy-duty cast iron pieces from overseas, I'm going to put some newspaper down. This is my Rockler blue silicone protective pad and my little table saw in the basement. So I just want something in case there's any of that waxy grease to end up on the newspaper and not on the silicone protective pad. So that is a very heavy crank handle. So let's see if you can see this. I'm gonna change the angle a bit. What I was gonna say is I doubt that this packaging has changed. Let me swing this back around. So piece of foam here, throw it in there. That's what I'm talking about, that greasy stuff. I'm going to pull this out. It looks like it comes out pretty much in a single piece. And then it's a bag of hardware and tighteners, and not one, but two handles. So I think that seems to be it for the box. So I'll set that aside. So let's tilt this down and see what we've got. Yeah, definitely gonna need some paper towel and some paint thinner. It's interesting, this track has these little rings, which I don't know if that's designed to go into, I'll have to check and see if it fits in my saw. And then I'll have to figure out where these guys go. And there's some assemblies required, but there's only 2 bolts, so I'm optimistic I can figure this out. This one came out pretty much assembled. And so I am going to put it together after I look at the instructions here. So let me jump ahead. Okay. I did one take. I'm going to admit it did not go well. It was just bad TV. So I'm going to try to get this guy started and thread it in and hope that that works. This is definitely the weak link. Okay, so it's biting in. It's a little sticky, but I'm assuming it's just I don't know, maybe there's a little paint or grease or wax or whatever. So it's going now. I'll get my hand in the way. So anyways, I'm going to sit here and tighten these guys up. And that's probably going to be pretty boring television. So I'm going to work on those bolts, and I'll get back to you when it's okay. I was able to just run these in and then give them a final tighten. If you're not familiar with Allen wrenches and stuff, you can kind of use the long way and twist it. It's easier to grab with a lot of fingers. And then you use the short part of the wrench and use the longer part, get some leverage, and to give it a twist, tighten up. So that's that. These handles, if you're not familiar with them, they're spring loaded. They will pull out, and in this case, once it's in, it will spring out, so you can loosen it. And then let's take a look and see. Yeah, all right, so you're going to put your wood into here, and this is going to allow you to cut an angle on a piece of wood. Let me see what I've got here. So you can be able to run this out and go this way with it, and you'll be able to cut an angle. If you need to just do straight up and down, which is what everybody shows in their videos, you can do it this way. One thing that may help, and there's an Allen screw here. All right, there we go. So this will slide up, and it will center on the board. And what you want is, as the saw blade, let's see, as the saw blade comes through and hits your piece of wood, you're going to want a backer piece. You're going to want a sacrificial piece, because that's what's going to help, is it's going to keep the fibers from getting blown out the back or ripped. And so you can, there's some screw holes here, so you can go through, I believe, you can go through and attach something. You could also just do a piece of two-sided tape if you clean this up. And then you just run that right up against there. You can adjust this so it's centered. It's a jig that's highly adjustable. I've never used one, but I can see it now, how it's handy. So you'd want this guy to stay put. If you need to, again, you can tilt this. You can tilt this back, and then if you're cutting down here and you're making like an angled leg or something, again, you can put in a sacrificial piece. You just want to cut it to the same angle here. So these guys are doing this. Oh, final bit of assembly is there's a couple of handles. One that goes here. And one that goes here. Let me see if I can multitask. There is a fair amount of grease on this thing, so it's coming up. And that's why I put the newspaper down, now that it's kind of, the tool has come to life. So those are locked in, so that will help you manage it through the cut. It's pretty heavy. Cast iron. So you can measure, let me bring the camera in closer so you can see this. So there's a bolt here, and then this is kind of a nut to set it. But when you loosen this up, and again, it's spring-loaded because it's in such a tight space, so you can adjust it. But you figure out if that is, you'll put a square over here, and you'll check to see if that's where that's for sure. You're 90 degrees straight up and down. And so if you set this, you calibrate this part, then it will lock into here, and you know it's 90. And then you just take your handle, use the spring load, if I can get it to hold still. There we go, starting to bite. All right, so let's tighten it up. Now it's locked. It's 90 degrees there. Just by looking at it, I'm going to say that there's a stop here for this guy, and what this does is it's the travel back and forth, so in and out from the saw blade. And then this is a micro adjust. What this is going to do, if you can see it, tilt this down just a little bit more. This is going to help you push and just give you just the tiniest bit of adjustment. So you want to set your piece. Let's see if I can keep a look at it. You can see it. So yeah, if you have your piece of wood here, what you want to do is be able to micro adjust into the blade, because that's going to push. I don't think it's going to pull so well, but maybe it will. I think that's most of it. There's going to be a gauge here that's going to tell you how far in and out. So this was sitting in somebody's basement or garage for like 40 years or 30 years. I don't know, maybe 20 years, who knows. This is the thing that got me to put this together, get out of the box and start working on it. This little handle right here, it controls I'm going to get that out of the way. It controls the tilt, and there's on nicer ones, there's actually like the degree marker, and there's a setting for controlling how far it's going to travel. I'm just going to have to use a gauge out here and measure where it is. That looks to be like, whoa, quite a bit of angle there. That's a long ways. I'm just going to be in just a little bit. But what I'm doing is I need to make a bunch of angled tenons, and being able to tilt it back, that's enormously helpful, because I think I can send it through a dado blade straight up, and I can have the dado blade in the saw straight up and down, so I'm not tilting the dado blade, which might get a little weird for the saw. But I can actually tilt the tenon jig, which is going to hold it at different angles. And so this is a game changer potentially for what I'm making at the moment. And it will be a game changer for making tenons in general. So this is going to be pretty cool. This is part of I got this on Marketplace, I believe. It's only like 50 bucks. I think they're like 150 or 200. But if you're making a product out of wood, this can be a great investment for you. So it should be a great time saver. Once everything's dialed in, it should be just really easy to make repetitive cuts. Just clamping the wood onto the jig and off the jig, and then just making a pass through. Once it's dialed in, everything's calibrated. So yeah, looking forward to putting this to use, and I'll get some footage of that. Okay, so if I'm looking at this correctly, this down here, this plate, this is your guide bar, so that's fixed on the table saw. And then this platform moves back and forth with all your tenoning jig stuff up here. So if you lock this guy down, then you'll be able to take this table, and you'll be able to, you can't see it move very much, but you'll be able to run it in and out. So now it's coming back towards us here. And then I can run it back out. So the micro adjustment works both ways. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't, but that's what you do, is you grab on here, and then your micro adjust can push and pull. If you need to make a huge adjustment, like in terms of a fat tenon or skinny tenon, then this will travel with this assembly like that. So if you need to be out there somewhere, you can do that. And if you need to be somewhere else, you can bring it back. All right, this is going to work a lot better on a saw. So anyways, that's your micro adjustment and macro adjustment, which you just saw. And then this travels back and forth and engages the micro adjustment. So again, this is for what I'm looking to do, this could be a real huge help. So anyways, like and subscribe if you like the way I babble about woodworking stuff and tools. Thanks.